I need some milk.
Jenna, slow down.
Okay. What happened? Didn't you just ask me that before? No. That's weird.
Jenna, slow down.
Okay. What happened? That's too weird.
Jenna, slow down.
Oh no. What happened? What's going on? Something to do with milk.
Jenna, slow down.
Okay.
Jenna, slow down.
Okay. What happened?
Jenna, slow down.
Wow. Time travel.
January is the very beginning of this unlucky year. Coronavirus was discovered and announced, but nobody thought it could be that bad. January is also the month of Kobe Bryant's death. This month was bad, but no one was prepared for the year ahead.
February. In this month, there are about 1,751 people tested positive for coronavirus. Also, the first American dies from coronavirus. But still, not that many people are worried about it. Eastern Turkey avalanches kill at least 38 people.
March. Coronavirus cases have reached up to 57,655 cases, and all around the world, schools have closed down into distance learning. Italy is the first country to announce a nationwide lockdown due to COVID. Also, the 2020 Olympics is officially postponed until 2021.
April. So far, global coronavirus cases reach up to 1 million. Also, 3 people died in a knife attack at a church in Nice, France.
May. Right now there are 1.25 million COVID cases and 19,327 deaths. This is also the month Black Lives Matter protests start due to the death of George Floyd and other people of color. Also, murder hornets are officially spotted in the U.S.
In June, there are about 10,260,000 people tested positive for coronavirus. Also, one of the largest locust swarms happened in India. It destroyed many crops.
July. Currently, there are 16,523,000 coronavirus cases all over the world. Some countries in Europe and Australia are also participating in the Black Lives Matter protests, along with America.
August. Coronavirus cases reach up to 23,690,000. There's also a fire in California called the Apple Fire. The Apple Fire is a fire that burned more than 33,000 acres.
September. Currently, there are 33,785,000 people with coronavirus. Black Lives Matter protesters are starting their 100th night of protesting. In the presidential election, President Donald Trump and Joe Biden are starting their first presidential debate.
In the month of October, there are about 38 million COVID cases. Also, at a college in North Carolina, there was a reported Black Lives Matter mural on campus.
Here in the month of November, global coronavirus cases report to about 40 million. Joe Biden has officially won the presidential election 306 to 232, but Donald Trump reports it as an election fraud.
December is the last month of 2020. COVID cases have grown rapidly, and many doctors and nurses have been tested positive for coronavirus. The COVID vaccine is out, and they are now giving it to others.
This is the end of 2020, a very peculiar and unlucky year.
Lots of tragedies occurred in the year 2020, like coronavirus and massive groups of protesters.
We all hope that 2021 will be
a better and COVID-free year.
Why? Why all this? Is there any purpose? Any meaning? I feel that people are asking these questions a lot these days. Life is short, but will be the longest thing you'll ever experience. However, the universe has already been around for billions of years. We are so lucky to even exist. But why? There's just too many questions with not enough answers. I feel that the universe is not meant to be understood. Our lives are just a tiny speck in time. Our planet is just a tiny speck in the universe. We are so small that our even smaller brains cannot even comprehend or imagine it. But we all have one thing guaranteed to us, and one thing only. That is, that nothing lasts forever. You don't know if you've lived 20% or 50% or even 90% of your life. People seem to count up the days when in reality it is always counting down. The future's uncertain, so you gotta try to live in the present. The past and future are just thoughts in your mind. The only thing that you have in reality is the present. But why? Is there any purpose, any meaning to all this? I believe that your purpose could honestly be anything and everything. Everyone's life is different, so that makes everyone's meaning different. There is no answer to the meaning of life except the one that you create for yourself. So, go do whatever has meaning or purpose to you. Have fun. Enjoy your time with the people you love. Travel. Help others. Have a successful career. Live and experience life. Learn something new. Understand yourself and those around you. Step out of your comfort zone. You create the meaning. You don't know how much time you have. So start thinking about these things now. Maybe the universe is not meant to be understood. We don't know. Might never know. But that's okay. My answer to why all this would simply be, why not?
It's been hard. Or rather, it was hard. Now it's just empty. I'm not intrigued when I hear about the latest disaster. And there's no wondering when we go back. As if the days weren't all blended together. And suddenly, it hit me. The voice behind the music that filled the empty void of life and reminded people that the world isn't all that bad. It's creation. I didn't just have a new passion, I had a light at the end of the tunnel. And before I knew it, I was home. I can open my eyes and see the people I cared about without looking through a screen. Creation brought me from surviving to living. And living brought me home.
You might have heard of a street named Martin Luther King Jr., but did you know about the real person? Hi, this is Ryan Neumann, reporting for News. A few months ago, I got to visit Atlanta, Georgia, and learn about a very important person in American history, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our family spent some time exploring places in Atlanta where he had lived or worked. I learned a lot about his life and the huge impact he had on our country. He was born in this house in Atlanta on January 15, 1929. Back then, many people were born at home and not at a hospital. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., pastored Ebenezer Baptist Church just down the street from their home. His mother, Alberta Williams King, played an organ at church and filled their house with music. Later, Martin would co-pastor the church with his father. We visited the King Center and learned about Dr. King's work. He fought to get rid of unfair rules that kept people with darker skin apart from people with lighter skin. Martin made speeches and organized marches. He worked to change laws. He used words, not weapons, to move our country closer to his dream, a dream that all people would live peacefully together and have equal opportunities. I recently spoke with some friends who shared how Dr. King impacted their lives.
My name is Joyce Moore. I am a kindergarten teacher. I have been teaching for 41 years.
I am the senior pastor at First Baptist Church in Pittsburgh, California.
A day does not pass without marinating on the message of Dr. Martin Luther King. That is the truth for me.
I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. Dr. King affected my life in a positive way. As a child, I grew up there where when you went to public buildings, you had to use the bathrooms or faucets that were labeled colored. The few times that I rode on a bus, we always had to sit in the back of the bus. There were usually maybe only 4 or 5 seats in the back of the bus. The rest were in the front. So even if the bus was not filled up, you still could only sit in the back of the bus. If it was full, you would have to stand in the back of the bus. So the way that the movement with Dr. King and others changed my life is they stood up and they said, this is not okay. This is not the way to treat people. We're all created equal.
Dr. King was about what is right, not who is right, but what is right.
I try to ensure in the position I have as pastor and just as a human being of always being able to live in peace. So I try to follow his example.
Dr. King stood and he said, I will do whatever it takes, and others came alongside of him so that people like me would have freedom to worship wherever I wanted to go in any store, to go to any school that I wanted to go to, and not have to be afraid that someone would hurt me because my skin color was different.
He stood for justice in a peaceful way.
My dad was the director of law enforcement in South Carolina, and he went to the King Center in Atlanta, Georgia, with a large group of agents to study how Dr. King was meticulous with the root of nonviolence and how to apply that in law enforcement. And I think that is such a beautiful thing.
The stand that he took, the beatings that he took, the jail time that he had to serve along with many others, made a way, opened the door for me to do and be who I am today. There was a time not too long ago I could not have been their teacher because I could only have been a teacher for children that had brown skin.
I think about his words of love.
That's what I'm learning from Martin Luther King, to treat everybody not necessarily equal, but fair. And fair means that you have to actually embrace someone to find out who are you? Who are they? What are their hurts? What are their successes? What do they celebrate? So in order for you to really meet the needs of an individual, you got to enter into a relationship with them.
I think of what this world would be if we had Martin Luther King today. He was so young when he died, but his message to me is timeless.
To love my students that are all different colors, to have friends and neighbors that look different from me, but we can still be friends and have a wonderful life together as a result of the sacrifices that Dr. King and many others like him made.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream lives on today, for peace between us, justice for all, and that we would all love and care for each other.
I'm here on the Mormon Islands, located along the American River near Folsom. These are some old house remains from 1883. Can you believe this used to be an old ghost town? Right behind me is an old bridge, but fascinating one. It has a lot of history to it. You can see it once the lake levels drop. This is the Salmon Falls Bridge.
Why is this bridge here? How could a town be here underwater? Who used to live in these houses? In order to find more information about this town, I found Kevin Knaus, who is an author and researcher of the area.
Thank you for your time here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
I was hiking with my mom along the shores of Folsom Lake, Mormon Island, and Salmon Falls trails, and we came across an old stone bridge across the river. It was amazing and so beautiful to look at. So I climbed all over it. Then it got me thinking, why is an old bridge here? I also noticed an old abandoned house foundations, or bricks. I started to do research on the area and came across the book you wrote.
Hidden History Beneath Folsom Lake.
In 4th grade, I learned all about the California Gold Rush. So I know there were small gatherings of people all over Folsom. But was there a town in this location before the gold rush? Or did this town occur because of the gold rush? If so, did the town have a name?
There were probably, in terms of European people, there were some pioneers and people before 1848 that traveled through that area. But really, the area was populated by Native Americans. As you know, that's kind of a nice spot. It's kind of a wide spot by the river. So it would have been a good place for Native Americans to congregate, especially during the summer. And of course, Salmon Falls was where the salmon jumped over the waterfall. So what a great place to catch dinner.
Do you know how many people used to live there?
It's, I've heard rumors of upwards of 3,000 people.
The old stones look like house foundations. There are a few spots scattered all over the area with these bricks. Were those the remains of houses from the town you're talking about?
Yeah, there were houses, there was a butcher shop, there was a livery stable, there was a little community there that was, more or less thriving. After the gold rush, you kind of ended, that most of the gold was all kind of scoured up by the mid-1850s. So it was just a small community, but it did have that road that went through it. And of course, the bridge. And so there was some travelers that would stop there from time to time. And that kind of kept Salmon Falls going.
When they started to build the Folsom Dam, the area had to be evacuated because they were going to stop the flow of water, and the Folsom Lake would fill up. Were there people living in the town when they were asked to leave?
Oh, yes, there were still people there. The Army Corps of Engineers, it was the government agency that actually designed and built Folsom Dam and the reservoir, and they went through and they had to buy the property from all the people. But even more significantly, they had to disinter the people in the cemeteries. And if you go over to the Mormon Island Relocation Cemetery, I believe it's on Shadowfax, right, very close to Folsom, you will see some of the headstones that say relocated from Salmon Falls Cemetery.
I can't thank you enough for your time today, Mr. Knaus. Thank you again for your time.
After talking to Kevin Knaus, I continued to research the area. I was interested in the Salmon Falls town that used to reside here. After even more research, it took some time, but I found what I was looking for. A living resident of the area before the town filled up with water. This is MYRNA Brown.
I'm accompanied here today by MYRNA Brown. Thank you for your time here today, MYRNA.
You're welcome.
I have a few questions here. So, was the town called Salmon Falls Town or Mormon Island Town?
Well, those were two different places that were settlements during when gold mining, gold was first discovered, and mining settlements were there. But by the time I lived there, those towns were pretty much gone. There were some falls. Salmon Falls got its name because there were some falls there, and the salmon would come up the American River, but they couldn't get up those falls because they were too high. So the people who lived there, the community, took dynamite and they made the falls so there were like 4 stair steps instead of one big falls, and the salmon could get up, and so they could get up and go further up the river. Little community was called Salmon Falls, and the bridge was Salmon Falls after the Salmon Falls.
Can you tell me a little bit about your family?
Well, I had a mom and dad and 2 older brothers. From the 1st grade to the 5th grade, I went to a little school up near Salmon Falls called Live Oak School. It was a little 1-room schoolhouse, and there were just a few kids there. In the 5th grade, there were only 4 of us going to that school, and we lived our place out on, do you know where Brown's Ravine is, out there by the lake? Well, we lived under the lake, where the lake is now. Our place was filled up with water, and we had about 250 acres out there. And my dad had a dairy, and we were about a quarter of a mile from the river, so we spent a lot of time on the American River in the summer.
When the Folsom Dam was built, I assume you were told you had to leave your house. How many months did you have before the water filled the valley?
We had years. They came, I was really little. I was probably about 8 when I heard my parents talking about the government coming to buy the property to make a dam. And but they started building the dam. We were there from like 1948 to 1951. So about 3 years we stayed while they were actually doing the construction of the dam. And then after we left some of our cows out there. We asked if it was okay that they just stayed out there and grazed until we could sell them all. And they said yes. So finally, I think in 1952, we actually moved into Folsom, and they started, the water started filling up, and it took a couple of years for that whole big lake to be full.
What was the general feeling of your family and neighbors when you were told you had to leave?
Well, people were pretty sad. There were some families out there. There was a Hoxie family and a Meddy family who had lived there. Their parents had lived there before them, and they fought it. They tried to, but my parents, being farmers, they knew that the dam was being put in for flood control because the river would flood downstream. It would flood all the farmers downstream. Even in Sacramento, the streets would flood. So they felt like it was a good reason to build a dam. So but it was still sad. It was sad to leave our place, and but we did.
Thank you for answering all of our questions here today.
You're so welcome.
I had an amazing time working with author Kevin Knaus, learning about the area, and to be able to talk to MYRNA Brown, an actual resident who lived in the Salmon Falls town. I can imagine knowing I had to leave my house because it would be flooded by water. These remains of the Salmon Falls town is a gold mine of history. I plan to continue to research about the Salmon Falls town and bridge. Maybe someday, my town will have history that will be researched.
Imagine not being able to control your own body's movements and actions. Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder involving repetitive and unnecessary sounds and movements. Although there is still more to discover, it is estimated that 1 of every 360 young adults have received a diagnosis and are affected by the condition. One in particular being a high school student. 15-year-old Cruz Turner hasn't been able to control what he does or says for the majority of his life.
I was diagnosed with Tourette's when I was about 6 years old, and I had a really rough year for a while after that. But then as I got into elementary school, they started to kind of calm down a little bit. And then up until middle school, where everything just exploded. My tics were exacerbated tenfold out of nowhere, and I had to get pulled out of school. I was enrolled into homeschool, and it was pretty rough for me because I was pulled away from all my friends who were all still at school, hanging out, and I was at home ticking away. It was not fun.
Looking back, he definitely had signs of kind of a neurodivergent brain before that. His was actually easy in the sense that it appeared overnight. I mean, he woke up one morning, we were at SeaWorld down in San Diego, and he couldn't walk. He literally would take a step, and then he would have to do a complex sequence of tics. So there was no question that something major had that it was like flipping a switch. That was when he was 6 years old.
Can you describe your tics? Do you have vocal, motor, or maybe both?
I have both. One of my main ones is I make this weird noise with my throat. So and I also have one where I throw my neck back like that. And I also have a blinking one where I'll blink really, really hard. And that one, like my eyes will dry out and then they'll get all irritated. And I also have some when I get super nervous and stressed where I'll hit myself, and that one really hurts. And I think one of the reasons my tics have been so low is because we haven't been going out in public, and so I haven't had that stress of people constantly watching me and maybe laughing.
Is there anything that you've noticed you can't really do other than someone maybe without Tourette's can do because of your tics?
Well, can't play hide and seek, but other than that, no, it doesn't really stop me from doing anything.
What is it like being in public with tics? Like, how do people react?
People normally just kind of leave me alone. They mind their own business because they can see that clearly. Something's up with me. But I've had a few instances where people will kind of stare, like rudely, or laugh at me even sometimes. But other than that, I haven't really had any problems. And standing out really hasn't been a problem with me. I've always I don't mind standing out really. I kind of like it. I don't like to fit in, if that makes sense.
Cruz's personality is that, even if it did cause him anxiety to go out, he would still rather go out and, just live his life. And if he's ticking terribly and people are looking at him, he usually takes it as an opportunity to try to talk to them. You know, if he sees people with questions in their eyes, he'll walk up to them and say, "Hey, are you wondering why I'm doing this?" So for the most part, people are extremely patient and kind. We've had a couple of experiences with teenagers who made rude comments and things like that, but the vast majority of people recognize that something is going on, that he's not voluntarily shouting, he's not voluntarily hitting me, because that was one of his tics for a long time, was kind of punching me. But people could see that it was involuntary behavior, and people, I think, are generally more educated now than they used to be, and they would usually just give you a smile, kind of an encouraging, hang in there type look.
Now, I know that you've traveled to Georgia to go to camps for those who have Tourette's. What was that experience like?
That was probably like one of the best experiences of my life so far, because at the time that I went, it was really kind of when my tics started to get really bad again. So I was kind of a little insecure about it at that time. So going to this camp and seeing all these kids there and getting to know them and know like how they feel about it, and I got to see that like they were all comfortable, and it kind of taught me that it's okay, it's nothing to be ashamed of. So it's called Camp Twitch and Shout, and it's mainly a camp that you go to just to kind of just have fun, I guess. They had a swimming pool, so we would go swim. They also had like a lake, and you'd go paddleboard, and just kind of normal summer camp stuff.
I know that when people with Tourette's are around each other, sometimes they can trigger each other's tics. So what was that like at camp?
Oh man, it was, if you take a large group of kids with Tourette's and put them in a small camp, you're gonna get chaos. It was crazy, because yeah, everyone was picking up on tics. Like you'd hear this one person all the way across the room maybe yell "biscuit," and then it just echoes "biscuit, biscuit, biscuit, biscuit," because we pick up on it. It's really weird, but it was funny. It was fun.
When I dropped him off at the special Tourette camp out in Georgia, I wasn't allowed to have any contact with him while he was there. So I basically handed him over to this just wonderful, loving staff, and it was the first time I'd been away from him since it had been really bad as a teenager. And I had to hand him over to the staff and walk away, and I didn't get to have any contact for 5 days, I think it was. And when I picked him up, and all of these kids were pouring into the auditorium, and the song, I think it was "This Is Me," was playing, and those kids were all, you could just see the happiness on their faces. They all felt comfortable. They didn't have to be ashamed. They just were really enjoying their time being with other people who understood what they were going through. And I just bawled like a baby, because as a parent, that's all you want, is for your kid to feel accepted and loved and comfortable. So that was a really great experience. And then,
is there anything else you do to calm your tics?
I play guitar. That's really my main, other than the medication, that's my main source that I use to calm down.
Playing guitar isn't the only thing that helps Cruz with his tics. He's been taking CBD oil for over a year.
For me, most medications don't really do anything. However, my grandfather is a retired physician, and he did some research for me and found that people with Tourette syndrome and OCD have had success using CBD pills and CBD oils. So he looked into that, and we decided that we would give it a shot, and we did, and it worked. It helped calm my tics, and it worked wonders.
Well, I'm Andrew Wertz. I am Cruz's grandfather. I am a retired physician. By training, I was a neonatologist. That's a pediatrician who took care of newborn infants who were in distress, sick, premature. But I did have experience doing pediatrics prior to neonatology. And as a result, Tourette's, of course, is in the bailiwick of pediatrics because it starts at a young age. It's a collection of symptoms that don't necessarily reflect disease, but presents with a pattern that can be stereotyped, and as a result, comes under the name of Tourette's. The interesting thing about Tourette's is that these are otherwise normal people with behaviors that set them apart, that they can't control. And although there are some associated symptoms with Tourette's, like obsessive compulsive neurotic behaviors, those are the symptoms that are usually treated. The interesting thing about Tourette's is that the process of the tics waxes and wanes. Generally, as one gets older, they tend to lessen, but oftentimes after going through adolescence, many adults who had Tourette's as children will start ticking again.
There are many medications and temporary treatments that people with Tourette's can take to kind of calm their tics or do certain things to help them. What is the research kind of going on behind those treatments? Research is expensive, and to come to a cure, a medication or such, oftentimes takes billions of dollars. And since most people with Tourette's are functional, you're not going to see that kind of research being done. There is some interesting research being done with respect to the gut biome, which is a collection of the bacteria, fungi, and everything that live in our gut. We are now finding out in many, many ways that the gut biome affects and influences our behavior and our disease processes, particularly as we get older. And there is some research being done with Tourette's that if one modifies the intestinal biome with probiotics, targeted probiotics, one can modify the behavior. What do you think is the best kind of way to go with that?
The standard treatments, if you were to go to a neurologist, a child neurologist, would be anti-anxiety, antidepressive medications, which really helps with the compulsivity and the anxiety aspects, but not so much with the ticking, with the hopes that by cutting down on the depression and the anxiety that the tics will decrease. With respect to cruise, for instance, I happened to be talking with a physician colleague of mine who was an emergency room doctor, and I happened to mention that Cruz had Tourette's. And he said, oh, I have a doctor friend whose son had Tourette's, and he had to do his own research, delved in, and he put his son on CBD, and it basically took care of the problem. And I said, well, get me the name of the medication, and we'll try it with Cruz. I did some more research, and I discovered that there is some work that had been done in China, not here in the United States, but in China, looking at the gut biome. And the Chinese found that the gut biome of kids with severe Tourette's is different from people who do not have Tourette's. And they modified it using probiotics. So we used a two-pronged approach with Cruz, putting him on CBD oil and probiotic. And I believe, from what I have seen in my observations of him, that it made a dramatic improvement, and that his ticking, which at some point earlier on had been where he needed a wheelchair to get around, he was having so many episodes, that all went away.
Because of the CBD oil, Cruz is finally gaining back some control.
Now, when that topic was raised with another neurology specialist to whom he was referred, the specialist conveyed to my daughter that they don't use it, but it's worth trying. Meaning there is a standard in the medical industry that you don't want to breach because of taboo of the concept of CBD oil and its relationship to THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the active ingredient in marijuana that causes the highs. And CBD has nothing to do with the active ingredient THC. You can take it as an oil. You take it orally by putting it in your mouth or in a drink, or you can take it with capsules or tablets. And it is manufactured now, and it is finding many, many uses in a lot of disease processes. And I think particularly in Tourette's, many people who had Tourette's who have taken it seem to show improvement. But there has been no significant medical research to make it peer-reviewed. That is, other physicians have reviewed it who have experience and say, yep, this is something we should use, that it is safe, that is efficacious or effective, and that we can use it. That's the problem. We haven't proved safety and efficacy in a large group of people with Tourette's to be able to make that a public declaration.
So what is something that can often be misleading or misunderstood about Tourette's?
I think many people who have no history or knowledge of the symptoms believe that it's totally controllable and the behavior is way out of touch with what is normal. And as a result, it's looked down upon, when in fact, it's not that controllable.
Most kids, I think, have heard about it, but don't really know anything about it, especially because it's such a misunderstood condition. So a lot of the kids kind of thought it just, I cursed a lot, which definitely was not. I did curse. For the most part, I didn't do that. So they were kind of like, when I told them, they're like, oh, so you curse and you flip people off and all that. And no, I don't really do that. So I had to explain that to them. But.
You know, there are people who do experience that with Tourette syndrome, but it's not a very large portion. It's actually a minority, and there's so much more to Tourette syndrome than what you see on TV.
It's such a misunderstood condition, and it definitely needs to be needs to be taught to people, because they don't really understand, because a lot of people, it's such a stigmatized condition too, whereas everyone thinks it's cursing and flipping people off, because that's what people see in the media. It's rarely ever shown in the media, but when it is, that's really what they focus on, is the cursing and all the really bad stuff.
For any parent that has a child ticking the way that Cruz did at the height of his tics, my biggest concern was that he would never be able to live a quote-unquote normal life, that it would drastically impact his daily living, his ability to get a job, his ability to have a marriage and family and kids. And, you always think of the kind of one of the worst case scenarios, and that's what goes through your mind as a parent.
Raising awareness became a priority for Cruz, as he became a Tourette's advocate and youth ambassador at the age of 14. Now, I understand you went on a trip to Washington, D.C. to meet with Congress. What was that experience like, and how did that come about?
So it came about when some people at a local Tourette's meeting that I go to kind of mentioned it, that there's this program called the Youth Ambassador Program, where they have young kids go out to Washington, D.C. and train for a little less than a week, and then they go up to Capitol Hill, and then they talk to Congress people, and they talk to them about fundraising and raising awareness and things like that. And at first I was really not sure I wanted to do that, because I was like, no way, I do not want to go out there. But then my mom kind of talked me into it, and she was like, it'd be a great way to raise awareness, and so it's like, okay, I'll try it.
The Youth Ambassador program has had a purpose to spread tolerance of and understanding about Tourette's since being established in 2005. The teen leaders and advocates undergo a 2-day training process to prepare for an exceptional meeting with elected officials.
I flew out to DC, and I did the training, and yeah, it was nerve-wracking though, having to talk to them, having talked to these people in a position of power, but I did it, and it felt really good.
Watching him as a youth ambassador going to DC it was incredible. I was so proud of him going in and speaking to, all of the congressmen. It's just hard to describe. He was so nervous, and I remember after we met with the first congressperson, he came out and he said, "Mom, I did it. I can totally do this. This is great. I want to do this every year. This is awesome." And he just loved it, and it was like watching him blossom. It was pretty amazing.
What kind of message do you want to share with other teens with Tourette's?
Just don't hide it. Don't be ashamed of it. Just kind of accept it, because we're normal people who happen to do and say things that we can't control. And yeah.
Being a board member, I have a lot of opportunities to educate parents and youth alike. And for me, one of the things that is closest to my heart is making sure that parents understand that it's going to be okay. It's not a death sentence. It's not. It doesn't mean that your child's life is over. And as parents, our kids look to us to see how we handle things, and if we are ashamed or if we feel that our child should be embarrassed by their tics. The kids feel that. And so for me, it's really important to educate parents that there is nothing to be ashamed of. It's totally involuntary. It is a medical condition. It is not a behavioral issue. And so I really value the opportunity to talk to parents and make sure that they understand that, so that trickles down to their kids.
What do you hope people will take from this while learning about your life and what you go through?
I hope people will learn to just accept, people with Tourette syndrome for who they are, Sure, Tourette's it's like a part of them, but it's not the only part of them. They're also humans. They have emotions and personalities, and so I hope that people focus more on that than just the Tourette's, because it's who I am.
How many hours a day do you spend on your phone? If you're an American adult, chances are you spend around 3.5 hours on your phone every day. Not bad, but it's nothing compared to teenagers.
My average screen time is like 8 or 9 hours a day.
This week, it's 4 hours and 30 minutes is my average for the daily.
Probably like 4 to 6 hours.
Average of 7 to 8.
Probably around 4 to 5 hours.
I am literally always on it. I think it's like 18 hours a day.
The average teenager spends about 7.5 hours on their phone every day. But why?
Mainly, it's just interacting with sites that I enjoy. So a lot of like YouTube or like listening to music.
Majority of the time is TikTok. If it's not TikTok, I'm usually watching anime.
It's like I use it to talk to people or for art references.
Is connecting with friends, listening to music, and creating art really all that bad? According to some adults, absolutely. There are hundreds of articles about how too much phone time rots your brain, how violent video games corrupt your mind, and more. These people assume that the issue is phones themselves. However, this situation is more complicated. It's not just the phone. The problem is social media.
I usually use TikTok the most.
Snapchat,
I watch YouTube a lot.
Instagram,
Twitter, probably.
I was on Tumblr for a little while.
90% of teenagers have used social media. It's how teens connect. Social media can be used for positive activities. It's fantastic that teens have easy access to social interaction with their peers, especially during quarantine when they don't have the option of going to school. However, statistics show that social media does more harm than good. On all social media sites, there's an overwhelming urge to be popular and fit in. Apps like Instagram and Twitter run on likes and comments.
Like Instagram, you get likes if people, approve of whatever you're posting. And I think a lot of people find validation through that.
It's human nature to seek approval from others. Let's take a look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, an idea in psychology proposed by Abraham Maslow. This theory describes human motivation. Simply put, what drives us? The first two layers of the pyramid describe our basic needs: food, water, warmth, shelter, then security and safety. Just above that, we have belonging. Humans want to fit in and be approved of. According to Maslow, humans seek validation from social groups. In the absence of this love and validation, people can become lonely, withdrawn, and depressed. It's human nature to belong. Social media apps use this to their advantage. The like button exists to seek approval from others. According to a study conducted by UCLA researchers, teens receive large amounts of dopamine whenever they see more likes on their pictures. It's similar to eating chocolate or winning money. However, when teens receive less likes, they feel more strongly rejected and report more negative effects and more negative thoughts about themselves. In a study conducted by researchers at the University of Texas at Austin, a team simulated social media interactions with students. The study found that receiving less likes actually lowered the students' self-esteem. A second study using the same experimental task found that teens with the strongest negative reaction to receiving less likes were also more likely to experience symptoms of depression. As well as that, the pressure to receive likes and be liked can lead to insecurity online. And a big part of that has to do with body image.
I don't wear what a lot of people seem to deem as this is pretty, or I don't seem to have the body type that people seem are pretty, and it's
It kind of, I guess, when I was younger, would encourage me to dress more normal. It's lame that my high school years just weren't good because I was so unhappy with myself outwardly, and I was so obsessed with that and trying to make myself look better that I let my studies fail. I would see my classmates Instagrams because I would just try to dress like them because I wanted them to like me, but at the same time I also didn't want to get bullied.
Often, the most liked photos and most popular accounts are ones featuring attractive people, celebrities like Kim Kardashian or Kylie Jenner. Unfortunately, the urge to be liked, that third level on the Maslow hierarchy of needs, fuels teens' desire to be just like these celebrity idols that get millions of likes. If people like them because of their body, then naturally teens want to look just like them. In fact, 88% of women say that they compare themselves to images in the media, while 65% of men report the same thing.
you can't really help but compare yourself to these people,
I would look at girls and I'd be like, wow, if only I look like them, or I was tall like them, or skinny like them, and all that stuff.
You may feel confident, but if you go and see somebody and you compare yourself to them, that immediately kind of takes down your confidence.
However, social media is flooded with unreasonable standards. In the digital age, it's easier than ever to edit selfies using Photoshop or other apps. You can cover up blemishes, change your body shape, and more. Nearly 2/3 of Americans say that they edit photos before they post them. This can lead to disastrous consequences. According to Nia Chaudhry, a child and adolescent psychiatrist at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School, people end up creating unrealistic ideals for themselves based on what they see, and feel distressed when they aren't able to meet those ideas or self-expectations. This distress has been proven to manifest itself in the form of decreased self-esteem and poorer body image. Even worse, studies have shown that there's a link between social media use and the development of mental illness. Between 2009 and 2017, rates of depression among teens ages 14 to 17 increased by more than 60%. Rates of suicidal thoughts, plans, and attempts all increased significantly, and in some cases, more than doubled. This trend cannot continue. We need to do something. But is there a solution?
Personally, I think the solution for social media would be to eliminate the things that make people want to download social media in the first place. So the likes, the views, the comments.
There's obviously never going to be like a perfect world where everybody is happy, but I think that I know like I've seen a lot of like body positivity trends and like people just being unapologetically themselves. And I think just more stuff like that where it's like you see someone and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And then, you know, like you can kind of follow them and like just be yourself more. And I think that the more people that start to show like these little flaws, that I think that'll make it a little bit of a better place.
The one that may first come to mind is banning social media.
Social media kind of creates that dependency. And so if you really want to be happy and really like be in a good place, you're going to like have to commit and delete it. And I mean, that's really hard, but like at the end of the day, like if you want to be happy, like you have to delete it, which is hard.
However, getting rid of it altogether isn't the solution. As mentioned before, social media is a genuinely good tool for teens to connect, especially during the pandemic with no in-person school.
On one hand, I think definitely like if everybody got rid of it, I think it would be great, but I just know that that's not realistic and that it's just better to focus on like the good that can come out of it and like just trying to make the internet like less of a toxic place to be.
We're already so accustomed to the, you know, the profiles that we build in our life and how extensively we use social media that there wouldn't be a way for us to just get rid of it, because nobody would want that.
But clearly, something does need to change. Remember Maslow's hierarchy and the negative consequences of not being liked? Some apps are actively trying to find a solution to this issue. For example, Instagram is experimenting with removing likes on their posts. Users will still be able to like pictures, but the like count will be removed from public view. It's too early to see if this is helpful to the mental health of users, but it's fantastic to see companies attempting to solve this issue. The problem of unreasonable standards, however, is something more complex. The root issue isn't just perpetuated by social media. Before social media, TV and magazines pushed unrealistic bodies as well. This, too, leads to body dissatisfaction. As mentioned earlier, the consequences that result from this can include decreased self-esteem, depression, self-harm, and suicide. Did you know that more than 70% of people with mental health issues do not receive any kind of treatment or care? Almost 20% of high school students experience suicidal thoughts. Depressed teens are more than twice as likely to drop out of high school. There are extreme consequences for this mental health epidemic. They need treatment. According to a study by EAB, students are far more likely to seek treatment for mental health issues at school rather than a clinic. It is essential that we focus our efforts on making mental health treatment accessible. Schools are the best place for that. Referring to the report, schools are often under-resourced and underprepared to give students the treatment that they need. During an interview with the website Education Week, EAB Managing Director Pete Talbot said that, "We have a mental health provider shortage in this country. Schools have been thrust into this position, but they're not really resourced. In many respects, it's an unfunded mandate." The report shows that schools are failing at the following. 1. Identifying students with mental health issues early. 2. Taking advantage of partnerships with external providers. 3. Adequately reintegrating students back into the classroom after they have had a mental health-related leave of absence. 4. Combating the stigma of mental health. Much of mental health treatment is prevention. Reacting to students only after they are in a mental health crisis isn't good for the student or the teacher. Instead, schools should identify students early on and connect them with the treatment they need. In order to do this, schools should create early warning systems that help school staff identify students in need. They should have plans to help integrate students back into school after a mental health crisis. Finally, in order to combat the stigma, schools should have ongoing mental health awareness campaigns throughout the year. With these solutions, teens have the potential to avoid disastrous mental health consequences while still utilizing social media for good.
Now I don't care what other people think of me. I realized that literally 2 years ago, I think I finally was like, wow, it doesn't matter actually. Wow, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter how many likes you get or how many followers you have. I learned now that everyone is beautiful in their own unique way. Yeah, sure, she might be tall and skinny, but I'm me and I'm not her and she's her.
If you struggle with mental health or your body image, there are so many online resources to help. The National Suicide Hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. You can call for crisis counseling and immediate help. Text HELLO to 741-741 for the Crisis Text Hotline, which connects you with a crisis counselor who can provide support and information over text. Also, the National Alliance on Mental Illness is the largest nationwide mental health advocacy group with hundreds of state organizations, affiliates, and volunteers. There, you can find support groups, free education, awareness, and community.
The year 2020 was pretty challenging. There was many changes that I wasn't prepared for. I learned some ways to stay positive and have a good attitude. Like anything else, it takes practice to stay positive. So here are 3 easy ways to stay positive during these challenging times. There are some great places in Sacramento to go outdoors. Taking a walk outside is one way to practice positivity. It gives me energy. I like to do something kind by donating to my local food bank. There are many people who are hungry and need groceries. When you do or say something kind, it goes a long way. Think about the good in your life. Make a list of things that you're grateful for. I like to write at least 5 things that I'm grateful for. One thing I'm grateful for is family. Being positive isn't always easy. If you practice these 3 easy steps, positivity will be a bigger part of your life.
Why do you want to be able to design a logo by hand? A hand-drawn logo has a unique artistic feel that is different from computer-generated graphics. You also want to be able to draw a logo by hand because your school projects may only allow you to draw by hand and not with computer.
Hey! You're not supposed to be using computers! Now, let's design a logo by hand.
Step 1. Understand the functions of your product or organization that you are designing for. For example, let us say I am designing a logo for my school's STEM club. I find that my club aims to give science and technology experience for elementary students. Step 2. Make sure the logo is made out of simple shapes that represent your product or organization and not just a group of cluttered graphics. For example, for my STEM club, I use the Sierpinski's triangle as the overall shape because the triangle contains a famous mathematical phenomenon. And I chose a diamond in the middle to present the feel of a superhero because I wanted it to represent the triumphant feelings a student can feel from a successful STEM project. Step 3. Draw some different designs using your shapes to see which one is more simple and meaningful.
This one.
Step 4. Choose an even number for your dimensions so you can draw the logo precisely. For example, I chose all 3 side lengths of my triangle to be 8 inches so I can measure the midpoint of length 4 at each side of the triangle. Then I can connect the midpoints together so the drawing can be precise. Side lengths with decimals can make it hard to draw accurately. Step 5. First, draw the design with a pencil and eraser and then color it in with markers. Draw it out with tools to make lines straight and precise. If you're not satisfied with your drawing, feel free to draw more drafts, then pick one out that you like best. Let's recap. Step 1. Understanding the functions of your product or organization. Step 2. Choose simple designs with simple shapes. Step 3. Compare different designs. Step 4. Draw your final design with even dimensions. Step 5. Draw with a pencil and refine. That's it! Have a blast designing your logo by hand.
Welcome to How to Make a Protein Smoothie. Protein smoothies are very beneficial for your body as they contain lots of protein and many different vitamins. Let's get started. For our ingredients, we will need ice, strawberries, blueberries, spinach, milk, orange juice, and vanilla whey protein powder. Step 1. Grab your blender and plug it in. Step 2. Cut up 7 or 8 medium-sized strawberries, which can be fresh or frozen. It's your preference. Then, measure half a cup of ice and half a cup of blueberries. Put both the ice and blueberries into the blender. Next, measure out 1 3/4 cups of spinach and add it to the blender. For our liquids, measure 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of orange juice and pour into the blender. Finally, take 2/3 a scoop of vanilla whey protein powder and add it to the blender as well. Step 3. Make sure you tightly secure the top of the blender and blend the ingredients on high for 30 to 45 seconds. Step 4. Presentation. Remove the lid and pour the smoothie into glasses. If the smoothie is too thick, add more milk or orange juice and blend it again. Top with anything you want, such as oats, granola, or fresh fruit. Now we are finished. Enjoy your freshly made protein smoothie.
Hey everybody! Today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 life hacks on how to dominate during distance learning, so let's jump right into it! We all know how difficult it is to wake up in the morning, especially when school is only a couple of feet away. To feel refreshed and energetic in the morning, drink a warm cup of water with lemon juice. Be careful when cutting the lemons. You might need adult supervision, just in case. Warm lemon water rejuvenates your skin and cleanses your body. Most of the time when we are tired in the morning is because we are dehydrated, so remember to drink water right when you wake up in the morning to feel ready for the day. To wake yourself up, put your moisturizer in the fridge so it's cold and ready for you to use. This allows the product to last longer and give off a soothing effect on your skin. Most of us like to stay in bed while doing school, but it puts so much strain on our back. An easy fix is to use a mini desk made for your bed. You can sit up while doing your work, while staying in the comfort of your own bed. You can get many headaches from being on the computer all day. Blue light glasses have been very helpful in reducing the bright lights on screens to give a more calming orange tone to look at instead. Here's the difference. This will help reduce the amount of headaches and keep your eyesight intact. If your headaches still won't go away, it could be the air quality in your room. Use an air purifier to clear the air and create a healthier environment for you to study in. Your headaches still won't go away? Well, headache or not, it's important to constantly be drinking water since you're at home staring at a computer screen for a long period of time. Place your water bottle on top of your phone so every time you go to check your socials, you remember to drink some water too. Have you ever accidentally closed a tab you didn't mean to? Just press Ctrl-Shift-T, and the last tab you had open will pop back up on your screen. To-do lists remind us about all the things we were supposed to do, but procrastinate on. So make a more specific to-do list, listing every single small assignment or chore you need to get done. The more items you check off, the more productive you feel, which motivates you to keep working. Use sticky notes to organize important assignments, reminders, or any information you may need to see on the daily. Stick them in places you know you will see them for sure and toss them out when you finish the task. When writing notes, use blue pens. Research shows you'll be able to remember information easier when it's written in blue ink rather than black or red ink. That's all for this video. Remember all these tips so you can thrive in distance learning. Stay safe, everybody!
Go wash your hands!
Make sure you use soap. Use a nail brush to get under those dirty nails. Before you eat, wash your hands. After you've been playing with your pet, make sure you wash your hands too. After you got outside or went to the store, make sure you wash your hands too. Stop spreading all those germs.
If you or anyone you know are being bullied, please speak up or call 1-800-273-TALK.
Feelings such as hopelessness and emotional distress may manifest themselves in certain behavioral changes, such as a loss of interest in activities, irritability, or social withdrawal. These may all be warning signs of suicidal thoughts, which can feel like being trapped in your own head. However, there are ways out. If you or a loved one feels this way or displays any of this worrying behavior, do not hesitate to reach out or contact the Suicide Prevention Hotline. For more information, visit suicideispreventable.org.
This is Madison. And Wesley. Our PTO is working hard to bring us more virtual events.
We have a Valentine's craft tonight.
For $5, you can get cookies to decorate, cards, and a Zoom link. And how to Zoom link, let's go to Miss Maroney for a sneak peek at the Zoom Valentine's art lesson.
Let's go to it.
Hi Markofer friends, Mrs. Maroney here, and I couldn't resist. I had to share another little art project for a mini art docent. I have to tell you, you better join us Friday, February 12th, 6:30 p.m. We're gonna do a Valentine cookie decorating and little crafting card night. So it'll be fun. It'll be Zoom. Join in, I'll be there, and we can create some more together. But for now, let's do a little fun art project. So we're gonna use some tin foil, and you're gonna scrunch it up just a little like that. You're gonna lay it flat, and you need some pens, nice and easy. And then you're just gonna color on it. And it's gonna actually make this beautiful watercolory look. And usually the darker colors are better. And you're gonna end up with this amazing metallic heart. Cut it out. You can color the other side if you're gonna hang it up by a window. Or in this case, I think I'm going to add it to a Valentine card and I'm going to send it in the mail. All right, so there you go. I won't cut out the whole thing, but look at that. It's this beautiful metallic heart that you made out of tinfoil and pens. Super simple. All right, friends, I hope you have a good rest today.
Thank you, Miss Maroney. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It sure does. Well, this episode, we have a lot more amazing videos. So let's get to it.
Yes, we do. First up, Maddie and I had a chance to talk to our Elk Grove mayor.
Yeah, we did. Let's go check out some clips.
Good morning, Mayor Bobby.
Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Thank you for coming to our studio.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to be here with you this morning.
Can you tell us what a mayor does?
What does a mayor do? Well, I am considered the leader of our city. We live in Elk Grove, and so I am the leader of our city. One of the big responsibilities I have is to make sure that our city is safe. It's safe for all of you and all of our other community residents. So I want to make sure that Elk Grove is a safe city. And then I'm also responsible for helping bring new businesses so that we have jobs in Elk Grove and other businesses all over our city. We want to make sure we have safe, clean roads and parks. That's an important job. And we also want to make sure we have activities for our kids in Elk Grove so that you can enjoy your city. I work with, they're called city council members. So just like you have classmates, these are my classmates. How does that sound?
That's awesome. What is your favorite part about being mayor?
Well, one of the most fun things that I get to do is this morning talking to you. That's a super fun thing for me to do, is to make sure that I get to connect with all of our students. I still really like doing that.
We also heard you were on our school board.
I was for 8.5 years.
What was your favorite memory on the school board?
My favorite memory about being on the school board was dressing up as Wonder Woman and reading about anti-bullying. I got to have a front row seat for all of our graduations. I got to hand out diplomas to our graduates, and that was very special. But just talking to students like you and learning about your hopes and your dreams.
Wow. What was school like when you were a kid?
What was school like when I was a kid? So I was born in India. And when I moved to America, I was 4 years old. It was a little hard, especially in elementary school, because the kids looked different than me and the language was different. So it took a lot of hard work and belief in myself and making new friends. But I always felt like I was a little different. But when I started making good friends, then I really started to feel like I belonged. And belonging is an important thing for every student, right? And as I grew up, I then started to see other students that also came from India that also looked like me. And that was super helpful too.
Who inspired you to do all that?
Who inspires me? Well, you know what? You all inspire me. You inspire me because I love learning about your hopes and your dreams. So you're a big inspiration. My mother is also a great inspiration. She's one of my role models because she always taught me to be kind to everyone, to help, to volunteer. She always showed compassion and kindness for everyone. I'm also inspired by our teachers because they work so hard every day to make a difference in all of your lives.
What would you like for Elk Grove?
What would I like for Elk Grove? I want Elk Grove to be a community where you as kids love spending time in our city, so to create more activities and places to go. That's an important part. Now I'm going to be working really hard towards. Let's create a city where we can spend time here in our city and enjoy great activities, great restaurants, parks, and other great things. Enjoy riding our bikes in Elk Grove and making sure that it's safe and bringing new jobs so that your friends and family, they can work here?
What do you have for kids like me to be successful?
Well, first and foremost, never give up. Always believe in yourself, because that's super important. Find something that you're passionate about, that you love doing. That also helps to be successful. When you need it, don't be embarrassed to ask for help, because to be successful, sometimes we need to ask help, right? But to be kind, being kind will help you be successful, because we need kind people in this world. And dream big. There is no dream that is too big for you. But I'm so proud of all of you. You are working really hard right now, and you are showing that you care about our community. So I am super proud of you.
Thank you for visiting our studio in MMS. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow. I can't believe our mayor came to our studio.
Yeah, I learned so much from her.
Me too. One day I want to be mayor.
Yeah, me too. Hey, I heard Sean has something to teach us next.
Yeah, he does.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Today I will be showing you how to change your background on this. So, what you do is you make a new tab, click on images in the corner over there, and then you type in what you want. And then you click on the one you want, then double tap, and then you click on Save Image As, and then you click on Save, and then over here it says Show in Folder, Copy to Clipboard. You click on Show in Folder, and then you click the X, go all the way back here, click that, set wallpaper, and then you go to the image, and bam. So that is how you change your wallpaper. Bye!
Thanks, Sean. I cannot wait to add a cool wallpaper to my Chromebook.
Yeah, me too.
You know, this year's been very different without being on campus.
Yes, it has, but our PTO has been doing a great job keeping us connected.
Kaylee and Nicole had an inside interview with the PTO to share.
Roll the clip.
Hey Mustangs, Nicole here. And Kaylee. We are here with the Markofer PTO to get the inside scoop on what they have been doing over distance learning. Yeah, hey Mustangs, how are you doing connecting with Markofer families over quarantine?
We felt that it was very important to keep doing events to keep a sense of togetherness. We've always had a very strong community at Markofer, and we wanted to make sure that was going strong. So instead of canceling Fall Festival, we came up with something new, Fall Bingo. Instead of canceling Cocoa and Cookies, we made Cookies and Cookies 2.0 and made it a drive-through event. Markofer has tons of traditions, and we love to keep those strong and hope that in the future, we still can do them again too when we're all together.
Those events were so fun. Yeah, I love them too. What other ways have you given back to the community?
we feel that Markofer Mustangs have big hearts. And so we decided to do a few things that were outside of our own school and our own community. So in November, we did a coat drive and we collected many, many coats. In December, for the Cocoa and Cookies event, we had it be a canned food drive entry. So you had to bring a can, and we were able to collect over 600 pounds of food. And then Kindness Week is coming up in February, and we've come up with some ideas for Mustangs to give back to the Elk Grove community as well.
Sounds like you care a lot of the community.
We have had a strong sense of community always in Markofer, so that is number one for us to keep that going.
How can families stay connected?
Well, the best way for you to stay connected is to sign up on our PTO website, markoferptboard.com. By giving us your email, you'll receive all the announcements and you'll know exactly what's going on. There's a great calendar on there. It's a great resource to be able to know exactly what's happening at Markofer, and especially with the PTO. And then if we have events that require a payment, you can make your payment right there. So it's super easy and super user-friendly. And then, of course, we have Facebook, we have an Instagram. And then always, if you have an idea or some way that you would like to communicate with us, please feel free to email us at florencemarkoferpto@gmail.com.
I can't wait to see what the PTO comes up with next. Make sure you tell your parents to sign up on the website to never miss an event. Thank you, PTO. See you later, Mustangs.
Thank you, PTO, for your thoughtfulness.
They worked so hard and their events have been so much fun.
Yes, they have. Our reporter Rex is having some fun in the snow.
Let's head outside and have a look.
I'm interviewing this snowman. Snowman, are you having a good day? Yes, I am. Well, I have some jokes for you. Okay. Well, you have a dog? You do? We need him. So that's Puppy. This is Whitney, the snow woman. She wants me to tell her about her days. Do you like carrot cake? Why? It's so good. They taste like your boogers. Tastes like a cat to me. Do you want to go dancing with me? You do? Let's go to the snowball. Snowball! Wait. Oh, you have Girl Scout cookies? Oh, can I have one? So good.
That's funny.
Snow is so much fun. Remember when we went snowshoeing? Yeah, that was an adventure. You know, Harper has a lot of fun helping the community. Yeah, let's head over and learn a little more about what Girl Scouts do.
Hi Mustangs, it's me Harper. Today I wanted to share a fun activity I do. If you haven't guessed by my outfit, I'm a Girl Scout, a brownie. People think of those delicious cookies when they think of Girl Scouts, but it is so much more. My Girl Scout troop meets a couple of times a month, and we do activities to help our community, and also activities that educate us and builds friendships. Some of the things we do are collect canned food for the food bank, make cards for the elderly, done science projects and art classes. Each activity we do, we earn badges like these. Some of my favorite activities
were canned food drive, art projects, and wizard science projects.
Wow.
Although the pandemic has forced everyone to stay socially distant, our troop still stays active using Zoom. Let's check in with my troop leader, Tiffany, to see how she makes our activities special even though it's online. Hi, Miss Tiffany. Thanks for meeting with me.
You're so welcome. I'm excited to be here.
I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Why is Girl Scouts so important?
Well, Girl Scouts is important because it teaches the girls leadership and life skills, and it gives girls confidence to try new things. Doing work in your community to give back, and then also making sure that we take care of the environment around us. And then it also allows for friendships and bonds to form with the girls.
Great answer. How do you make the meetings special even if they are on Zoom?
Well, it's definitely a challenge to make the meeting special on Zoom. Of course, we'd love to be together in person. But what I think the key thing is to plan the meetings is to make sure that we do a lot of pre-planning. We also try to make them hands-on, so the girls get to do at least 1 or 2 hands-on activities during the meeting. And then another important thing is to make sure that we do things that we know the girls will enjoy. So far, our meetings have been pretty successful, so that's exciting.
Thanks, Miss Tiffany. See you next Sunday for our meeting.
Great, thank you. I'm excited to see you next Sunday.
So I hope you learned a little bit about what the Girl Scouts are all about and enjoyed seeing what I get to do. If you're interested in joining, have a parent join you and go to www.girlscoutshcc.org.
That was so great, Harper.
Thank you, Nicole. Girl Scouts is so fun.
Yeah, it is. I love being a sister Girl Scout with you. My favorite part of Girl Scouts is the friendships and, of course, the cookies.
I love that part too.
Mr. Blackwood has an important message for us.
Let's head over to Markofer and see what he has to say.
Hello, Markofer Mustangs. This is Mr. Blackwood with my trusty friend here, Marty Mustang. And we just wanted to say hello to everybody. Haven't seen everybody for a long time. And we're excited to be part of the mini Mustang news broadcast. Mostly, I just want to remind you that, these are tough times and we would just like to feel better. And if you do something kind for somebody or say something kind, that always will make you feel better. So we have Kindness Week coming up. Our PTO is sponsoring Kindness Week the week of February 16th through the 19th. The 15th is a holiday, so it's a 4-day, and we will be dressing up. Our dress-up days are Tuesday will be wear pink or red. That's for Valentine's Day. Wednesday, my favorite, superhero day. On Thursday is crazy hair day. My hair is getting kind of long, so I might be able to actually do something. And Friday, our absolute favorite, everybody's favorite, pajama day. So Marty and I just want to make sure that everybody is being kind, being nice. Don't be afraid to help around the house. So while we're still in distance learning, to feel better, do something nice for somebody and you will feel better. All right, Mr. Blackwood and Marty signing off. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Blackwood.
Yes, thank you to all our interviewees.
Yes, it has been a packed episode.
Yes, well, that's all for now.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Well, and remember, I'm Leslie.
I am Madison.
Bye, Mustangs!
on this episode of MTV News. We'll talk to Mr. Griffin, wash away germs, and get a sneak peek at our new DPM playground.
Stay tuned for all this and more, only on MTV. Hello, Del Paso Manor Mustangs. Welcome to our fall episode of MTV News. My name is Carissa.
And I'm Cassidy.
We have an amazing episode for you today. First up, we'll learn about how to be active at home.
I'm always looking for new ways to move.
It is important to stay active while in distance learning. Let's check in with our PE teacher, Mr. Griffin, to learn more.
Some cardio that gets your heart rate up, you should be breathing a little harder than you would if you were sitting around. It would be things as simple as walking. Time to learn how to dribble a basketball or a soccer ball. Sitting around, your muscles will tighten up on you. You know, sore neck, sore back, sore legs. So making sure you stay flexible.
So get off the screen and get moving.
Now let's learn how to keep an organized workspace at home.
Clear the trash and dishes off your desk. Then stack your papers, notebooks, and books in separate piles. Put your papers in a folder. Then put your pencils and pens in a cup. The final step is to wipe down your desk with a damp rag. Be focused and helps your schoolwork.
Since people are spending so much time at home, it is important to get in the habit of recycling.
50% of the plastic that is produced is thrown away after just one use. It can take 1,000 years for plastic to decompose. Recycling is easy and doesn't take much time, so do it.
For many of our kindergarten students here at DPM, they have never been in a classroom.
Wow, they are certainly missing out.
Let's take a tour of one of our kindergarten rooms here on campus.
Hi, DPM Mustangs! Welcome to kindergarten! Lots of fun play areas in this nice big classroom. I'd love to show you around, so come on in. These are our big walls where we get to show all of your cool student work. You have a fun library where you get to sit with your friends and read a book. Then you have your awesome carpet area where we do lots of reading and learning together. And I have to show you something very cool. Do you see all these big whiteboards for us to write on? Well, there's something behind them. Behind these big whiteboards, ooh, isn't that pretty cool? We have our own TVs that we can project from. In kindergarten, we have our own bathrooms and we have some sinks so we can wash our hands. But don't forget the best part is right out that door. In kindergarten, we have our big own playground to play with. As you can see, kindergarten, it's a nice big classroom. We can't wait for you guys to come back to school. When you do come back, we're gonna be wearing our masks. But remember, under our mask is a really big smile for you.
Our school librarian, Mrs. Julia, has been working hard to prepare the library for our return to campus. Let's check in with her.
So the new library is amazing. That is the best word to describe it. It's so colorful and it's about 2.5 times the size of our old library. We have lots of really colorful furniture. There's some little green hills that students can sit on. I am missing all of you kids very, very much. It's an amazing space and it's so exciting and I just can't wait for you all to be here to use it.
Hey Cassidy, do you know how long you should wash your hands?
Until they're clean?
Actually, there's a certain number of seconds.
Oh, really? I guess we should learn more about that.
Washing your hands is important, but it's even more important now. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. If you wash for less, you may not get all the germs off. If soap and water aren't available, use hand sanitizer. It is the next best thing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. This is an easy way to get sick. So please remember to wash your hands. I know washing your hands isn't the most enjoyable thing, but it is very important.
Reflecting on our old playground,
there was barely anything to do.
That's not what I was going to say, but that is for sure.
The former DPM playground was tiny and overcrowded. A perk of having a new campus is the addition of a new playground that is spacious with a variety of things to do. There is a balance beam to walk across, not to mention a cylinder cargo net to climb. The view from the top is the best.
It's fun to jump on.
Maybe you're more of a climber. There are several pieces of equipment you can slide, climb, or swing from.
Now this is what I'm talking about.
The new playground has a little something for everyone, but the most importantly, lots of space.
Yeah.
Krista, what hobbies do you have outside of school?
I love board games. What about you?
I love to do artwork, and I like to go play at the park.
Let's see what other students like to do in their free time.
I found fashion during quarantine.
This is something I sewed.
Let's see what kids find as hobbies during distance learning.
Some people have hobbies as cooking.
I'm really good at cooking. I can make grilled cheese.
Or drawing.
Share my drawing.
Draw on my drawing pad, and then I will put it in my book. This is one thing I've drawn.
And I've colored, and it's a picture of Elsa.
I wrote a book yesterday. It's about this Pokemon. It's called Stats and Facts About Pokemon.
This is the drawing, and this is the shirt.
For quarantine, I've been studying dancing, and I really like it. It lets me express my feelings through dance, and I really like that.
Play Xbox to calm me down and just to have fun.
When you're bored, you'll have something to do.
Saturday and Sunday, I always play with my Barbie doll.
Lots of kids at DPM have hobbies during distance learning. Do you have a hobby?
Well, that's all the time we have for Mustang TV.
I'm Carissa.
And I'm Cassidy.
Signing off. See you next time on Mustang News.
Good morning, Bulldogs, and welcome to Kaiser's Career Corner, where we learn about different careers from Bulldog parents. So far on this season of Kaiser's Career Corner, we've met a number of Bulldog parents, including a real estate agent, a yoga instructor, and the Vice President of Global Marketing for the state of California. Today, we meet Mr. Joseph Caesar, who's the owner of Strada and Corsa, a company that services exotic Italian cars. Hello, Mr. Caesar. Can you tell us a little bit more about your occupation?
Sure. What I do is I service Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, and Alfa Romeo. We service a wide range of vehicles and years, but only just those four makes, though. So it's Italian exotics.
What is a typical workday like for you?
Typical workday for me is I start my morning at usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I get into the shop, and I usually have to answer emails and phone calls. And I also have to a lot of times put together estimates. And then once I get some of the paperwork done for the day, then I make sure that the parts for the orders that I need are coming. And then after that, I might work on some vehicles. And then at the end of the day, it's a lot of pickup and cleanup to finish up for the day.
What is your favorite part about your job?
Oh, I think, it's unique and different because I've got lots of different cars, and they have a lot of different problems that might occur that I have to figure out. But also the types of vehicles I get to work on. They're rare and beautiful, and so it's nice to work on them. But it requires a certain type of etiquette and also care when you work with these types of cars. These are people's pride and possessions, their passion, and so you have to treat them in that way.
what would you say is the most fascinating thing about your job?
Well, I think the most fascinating experience of the job hasn't really been the cars, even though there's been a lot of fun experience with rebuilding some rare engines and some accidents even. There's accident repairs we've had to do. And so there's a lot of fascinating things about that, but I think it's the people. And so the people then who own the vehicles are usually the most fascinating. I enjoy my client base.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Caesar, and thank you, Bulldogs, for watching. Today, we got a sneak peek into the world of exotic Italian cars. Bulldogs, if you'd like to nominate your parent for Casey's Career Corner, email me at caserwin@gmail.com.
What's up, Tigers? It's Vanessa. I'm already feeling that Christmas spirit.
And I'm Anna. I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving break.
Oh my gosh, Anna, you are an adorable Grinch. It's just about 3 weeks until our Christmas break.
Thank you, Vanessa. This year's semester 1 will actually end in January when we come back from break.
If you need a hand keeping up those good grades, peer tutoring does continue.
The National Honor Society offers peer tutoring after school Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Go ahead and check it out.
Seniors, if you are stressing about your college applications, counselors are doing lunch meetings to help. You can also reach out to them for any questions that you may have. It can be really hard when we're not in the same building to stay in touch with other students, so keeping up with intercom clubs is very important.
That may be just what you need to stay connected. You can find them on the school website under Students, and you can also find them under Intercom Activities.
Here's Naya with more.
Hey, it's Naya, and I'm here with the founder and president of the Southeast Asian Student Association at Intercom High School, Blossom.
Hi, I'm Blossom McKee.
Hey, Blossom. So to start us off, what is SEVA?
SEVA stands for the Southeast Asian Student Association at Intercom, and it's a community for Southeast Asian and non-Southeast Asian students to come together and share their cultural similarities and differences. It's a place for Southeast Asian students to feel represented and for them to learn more about their culture and just to create overall connectivity in school.
How are you guys holding up during quarantine? Like, what are some activities you guys are doing and how are you maintaining the club throughout it?
During quarantine, we are continuing our club meetings on Zoom every second Monday of the month and every second to last Monday of the month. Some activities that we do are presentations on the country, we do Kahoots, and we also do some movie nights sometimes.
Thanks, Blossom. Now let's hear from some of the club's members, Joey and Tyler.
Hello there.
Hi, Joey. So, why do you guys like being in SEVA?
Like the community, especially the community, I feel like there's such a positive atmosphere within the community. It's like, even if you're not Southeast Asian, they will still welcome you with full arms, because as long as you're here to learn, it's a good time for everyone.
And finally, what are some things you guys learned in the club so far?
More about my own culture and all the other cultures around Southeast Asia. Me being Filipino, I learned a lot more of the history behind the Philippines, along with other places like Singapore and other places in the area.
All right, that's all I have. Thanks for talking with me, guys.
Bye.
Staying focused is something that can be really hard while taking online classes all day.
Here's what I try. I use a planner to plan out my week and make sure I stay on track with my busy schedule. Here's some other tips to help you maybe not procrastinate as much.
Hey, good morning, Tigers. It's Mr. Hinton here at Intercom High School. I hope you guys are all doing well, and we sure do miss you here. I want to talk to you a little bit today about procrastination and staying on track. So I've got 4 tips here for you. All right, number 1, write down all of the tasks that you have to do and prioritize them from most important to least important. Number 2, commit yourself to doing 2 to 3 tasks a day. all right? You can start with even the easy ones and complete those and move on to the next ones. All right, number 3, find a buddy to talk with about these, okay? Get a buddy, get a couple of friends, and hold each other accountable. All right, and the last one, number 4, is probably the most important one, is give yourself a break. You do not have to be perfect, okay? We're all gonna get through this, and I hope that these tasks help you. Thank you, and go Tigers!
This week's learner profile is balanced.
Try balance some online screen time with some outside time.
Safely and socially distanced, of course. Keep that mask with you.
I've got mine. That'll do it for us Tigers. G's for grit, R's for responsibility, O's for optimism.
W's for worldliness, L's for learner profile. Stay safe and always Tigers. Go Tigers! Growl!